Imagine that you had just spent 6 years restoring a 70-year-old Land Rover Series 1 from an abandoned wreck to a beautiful, pristine vehicle. And then, when you finally get in it and on the road for a few trips, you realize how terribly basic and uncomfortable it is. What would be the first and the most important upgrade you would do? Welcome to the Overland Legend. I'm Alan, and in this video I'm going to tell you about that very first upgrade on this Landy to make it just a little bit more comfortable. If you followed my restoration of this vehicle, then welcome back. If you haven't, then please check out the Restoring a Legend playlist on my channel. It's been a while since I finished the restoration, and I thought I'd give you an update and my impressions of the vehicle now that I've had it for a while and been using it. We've been out on some day trips and driving around a bit, and it's been fantastic. But there are some improvements that I think I need to look at. You know, this is a 70-year-old Series 1, and it's not the most comfortable vehicle around, even though it has bucket loads of charm and mountains of character. So what do you think the best upgrade is for a vehicle like this? Well, that's what I want to talk about, and I'll share that with you a little bit later. But first, let me tell you about the last few months and what I've been up to. Well, I tell you what, I've had a lot more free time on the weekends now that this job is finished, and that's got me thinking about what's the next project. But that's a story for another day. But just check this shirt out. How cool is that? That's me in my vehicle on my t-shirt, and that's thanks to Rick Mason, who just did that, and it looks fantastic. Thanks so much, Rick, really appreciate it. The vehicle's been running really nicely. Engine's going very well. Had to make a small adjustment on the clutch just to make it a little bit more comfortable. And the brakes are working great. The right hand front's like a little bit of noise, but I think it's just going to settle in. And yeah, there are some, I have had some issues. Nothing major, but mainly the gearbox leak is the main issue that I've got, which is normal. It leaks out of the selector shaft, so it's a worn gearbox, and that's to be expected. Then it also looks like there's a bit of a leak on the rear output shaft on the gearbox, so I'll just have to change that. And then the front diff pinion seal leaked a bit, but then it stopped, so I'll just keep an eye on that. And then also on the gearbox, I had 2 or 3 times when I decelerated in third, it seemed to slip out. So it could be the selector shafts, it could be the main shaft that's maybe got a bit of play in it. So I tightened the selector shafts up, and we'll see how that goes. So, but otherwise very, very happy, going very nicely. Still got a few little things to do, like wiring up the passenger side wiper motor, some of the accessory plugs I need to do, and then the bump stops on the bonnet I need to put back on, the buffer stops. So a few little things. I've also been, I've got a canopy for it, so I've put those poles on, as you will have seen, and I'm going to put that canopy on because I've got a trip coming up in a couple of weeks, just a weekend camping trip, so I want to go away with that canopy on. Then in terms of upgrades, the first upgrade that I did is really easy. makes a big difference as far as I'm concerned, putting a leather steering wheel cover on, and it just helps your hands, you know, especially when it's moist. It doesn't slip so much, and it just feels a lot nicer, and it looks good. So that's a nice, easy, quick upgrade. Then the other upgrade, obviously, that I would look at is the overdrive. I have had overdrives before. I've always had a Ferry overdrive. And I've actually, they're not that easy to come by because they're quite scarce, but I have actually found one, a used one, and I'm just busy putting that together and fixing it up. So I'll have a look at that a little bit later. So that brings me to what I consider to be the best upgrade on these vehicles. And you know, on this vehicle I didn't have the original Series 1 springs. I actually had to fit some aftermarket springs. And those ones are not close to the original in the sense that the leaves they've got are not as thin. The metal is not made from the thinner metal than the original Land Rover ones are. And the number of blades are not the same. So it's quite different. And I thought I'd just try it, which I did, and I put them on. But I tell you what, the ride was so bumpy. I mean, even on the first few rides I could tell that it was almost unbearable. And I'd almost get launched off the seat, even on tar roads. It was completely uncomfortable. And the articulation also was terrible. I mean, just driving out of the garage with a small little wheel articulation, I had like a cross-axle, or rather embarrassing cross-axle situation. So it all pointed to the fact that those springs were definitely too hard. You know, maybe with a vehicle fully loaded it would be alright, but I mean, this vehicle, most of the time I'm going to use it, it's not going to be loaded, so it just wasn't going to work. And I decided, you know what, I need to make another plan. I had originally thought about parabolics, but then I thought, no, it's too expensive and I'll leave it. But I had no choice now. Not being able to get the original Series springs, I decided to get a set of parabolic springs. I don't have much choice here in South Africa, unfortunately, so I got the All Makes ones, which aren't the best that you can get. I think the Rocky Mountain ones are supposed to be the best you can get, but to get hold of those, it's also just ridiculously expensive and they're not easily available here. So anyway, I fitted the All Makes ones. The springs are supplied grey, but I painted them black, and they came with the bushes fitted and are fitted with their own U-bolts. These are the ones for the rear, but actually the 3-blade version for the short wheelbase. The long wheelbase rear have 4 blades for the heavier loads of a long wheelbase. The problem that I've seen with the 4-blade spring on a 107 is that the rear sits too high, and I didn't want that. Also, I don't intend fully loading this vehicle, so I thought I'd try the short wheelbase 3-blade version instead. The front springs are all the same and just have 2 blades. Fitting them was easy because the vehicle is still new and I had no problems removing the shackle pins. I also enlisted some help from my son, which meant that it went a little bit quicker too. I did it with the wheels in place, which limited access a bit, but made it a bit quicker, I think. The trickiest is getting the axle pin to line up with the locating hole in the spring. Most of them went in easily except for the rear left, which needed a little bit more effort.
Oh, I can squeeze.
Can you see the pin at the bottom?
Yeah.
And then do you see a hole at the top?
Yes.
Okay. So must the axle go, must the hole at the top, must it go forwards or backwards?
I can't tell. I think it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
It's not going in now. You see?
Yeah.
What's it doing?
It's sitting, I think. I don't think it's a problem of forwards and backwards. It looks like a left and right problem.
Are you sure it's in the middle?
Yeah. Looks like it to me.
So what's the left and right problem? Must the spring come this way or go that way?
So this is like, so the hole is like this, and pin here is like that. Like it's just clipping on the side here.
So the spring has to, the spring has to go this way.
Yeah. Okay, so the hole needs to go to the hole needs to come to the right and back. Just push this wheel to me.
What?
Push the wheel.
Which way?
To me. Like
the wheel?
Yeah.
Got to that.
The axle. The hole, I don't know. Yeah, there. Yeah, I got it. Yes, Dad, it's good. Yeah.
The biggest problem I had on the front springs was that the bushes were moving inside the springs, which probably points to the spring eye not being the right diameter. The result was that the bush was working its way out of the spring. I solved that problem by making a shim to get a tight fit of the bush inside the spring eye. I do also have a slight lean on the right hand side, which is a little bit disappointing, but hardly noticeable. The odd thing is that unlike the original springs, these are the same for the left and right side. Well, I have to say that with those parabolic springs fitted, it's really transformed the ride of this vehicle and made it so much more comfortable and really quite bearable. And it's just worked out very nicely. I'm very happy with it, and I can highly recommend them. We'll have to see what the longevity is like, but from a ride comfort point of view, definitely better. And I also tried the articulation out a bit, significantly better, and that's really going to make the off-road ability of the vehicle what it should be. And so yeah, I can highly recommend the parabolics. I'm very happy with them, and let's see how they last and how they go. So if you haven't seen the rest of the restoration of this vehicle and you want to see that, then please have a look at that playlist. It's on my channel. It's called Restoring a Legend, and you'll find 26 episodes there of exactly how I found the vehicle and what it was like, and then the whole process that I went through basically to get to where it is today and drivable. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Bye.